Our next speaker is a luminary in the realm of customer service and technology, boasting over a decade of unparalleled expertise with an intricate understanding of web infrastructure and networking technologies. He stands as a seasoned professional in application performance management, network performance monitoring, and IT service management. Today, he graces our stage to unravel the secrets of cultivating a transformative DevOps culture, one that thrives on collaboration and accountability. Brace yourselves for a very captivating session ahead into the future of IT, where innovation meets efficiency. So without much further ado, please join me in welcoming onto the stage a true maestro in the field, the one and only Mr. Daniel Caesar Paul, Regional Manager Pre-Sales at Zoho Corp. Can we have a big round of applause for Daniel, everyone?
Yeah, thank you so much. Hi everyone, and it was a very nice session by Rajdeep. So my presentation is going to be on how to build a DevOps culture using accountability and collaboration is very important. So today's session is all focusing on the resilience, right? So as Rajdeep mentioned in the previous session, so we need data, and it's with the data we know some problem is going to happen, and that data needs to be monitored, right? So that's what my session is going to be on. So how to build a DevOps culture. So we'll be discussing on the role of DevOps. I'll quickly complete that, and the importance of DevOps culture in modern software development. So we all have DevOps practices in place, and how to turn those DevOps practices into a culture. And then we'll talk quickly about the observability. Observability helps you in analyzing the data. So if you see there are resources that are underutilized or unused, right? So observability is a platform that helps you understand and fix those issues. And then a small use case on how Site 24/7, I'm from the Site 24/7, so how Site 24/7 can help build a DevOps culture with a real-time observability. So the role of DevOps, so developers were in charge of writing the codes. They take care of the pre-deployment work, right? So they are, their main focus is on the quality code, right? They have to write the code, quality code. And then we had the operators who focuses on the post-deployment, because the application is not going to work the same way with our UAT as well as the production environment, right? When we move it to the production, then only we'll see real-time issues. So the operations teams takes care of the post-deployment, if the application is performing well, if there are any errors, exception faced by the users. And these two roles put together is what we call DevOps. And now we have introduced a layer on top of it, which is called the DevSecOps. Security is injected to them. So security can be taken care at all layers of the DevOps cycle, right? And in modern software development, we have this monolithic architecture, and now we have the microservices, and we are moving towards serverless architecture. So things become complex day by day. So it's important for us as DevOps engineers to understand what's happening at all layers, because end of the day, our goal is to give a better working application. Our goal is to provide an application that's running seamlessly when accessed from any device, right? So these are the three major challenges that we as DevOps engineers face. One is the availability, making sure that my application is up and running all the time, whether it's accessible from across the globe, from any device the user uses. The performance, which is very important factor to measure the satisfaction level, whether the users are satisfied, whether my application is consumed the same way I wanted it to be, right? And then security. Security, again, it's a very vital role. It's a very big challenge for us now. So all these challenges can be solved with observability tools, right? So before we had this client-server architecture where we had consumers. We had the servers which serve the content, and we had consumers who consume the content. But now we have people who contribute to those content. So anyone can contribute to the content, right? And the way content is consumed also varies. We can have our application accessed from any device. It's not only computers that people uses. We have tablets. I mean, we have watches, right? So people start using watches to consume the content that we give. So applications has to work seamlessly when it is accessed from any type of device. So these are the layers that we have in our cloud architecture. The end user layer, where clients access your application, your websites, right? Your mobile applications, the tablets, computers. And then comes the backend layer, which is the application layer, where you actually run your business logic. And then platform layer, where your NoSQL databases, servers, and then infrastructure layer, your virtual machines, right? So in order to provide an application that works seamlessly, you need to have better visibility on all these 4 layers, right? If you focus only on the infrastructure layer, making sure that my infrastructure is up and running, it's performing well, but there might be issues faced at the end user layer. A user will not be able to access your application. They might not be able to use access your application from a mobile device, right? So you need to have visibility on what's happening at all layers of the infrastructure to provide a better performing application. So you need to have end-to-end visibility on all the layers, and that's where observability comes into place. So observability tools help you in understanding the metrics, the traces, and the logs put into one single tool. So you have better visibility on all the layers of your infrastructure. So you need to have real-time insights on the metrics. So you need to have your user experience as well as the infrastructure metrics that are happening. So if there is a performance issue, the response time is high for your website, you need to understand why it is caused, whether it's the server layer or the network layer, which is causing a problem. So you need to have real-time insight on the metrics. And traces, give your developers insights on where the performance issue is. Say if your application is running slowly, your developers need to have information on where that slowness is happening. Is it an SQL query that is taking more time? Or it's an API call that's made to a third-party application taking more time, right? So we need to understand that in order to fine-tune the application for better performance. So apart from the application tracing, today we need distributed tracing. With the microservices architecture, applications talking to one another, right? So you need to have distributed tracing to understand what's happening on the other end. Say I make a request from my application that's getting processed in another application, right? So we also need information on what's happening on the other end, which again is going to enable my developer to optimize it for better performance. And then logs. End of the day, we need logs to troubleshoot issues. When there is a performance issue or anything that needs to be analyzed and found out, we need the logs to be analyzed. So we need the logs also be there. So observability puts all these 3 into one place: metrics, traces, and logs. And coming to our topic on DevOps culture, right? So how an observability platform can build a DevOps culture, right? So today, what happens is most of the clients that I interact with, right? So they say they use multiple tools for monitoring alone. So this comes for the monitoring and observability alone, right? So each team will have their own set of tools. Application team with their own tools, network team with their own tools, right? And there will not be any integration between these tools. And whenever there is an issue, right, people run behind other teams. Let's say if my application is down, I want to analyze the logs. I have to contact another team who has to send me the logs, where they might take another 1 or 2 hours time to download the logs, index them, and send it back to me, right? So which is going to increase the time taken to fix, and there will not be any outcome, right? So it's a very challenging environment, and we'll have this blame game that's happening. So one team trying to blame the other team, say the problem is not in my end, the problem is in your end. So in order to solve this blame game, we need a DevOps culture. And how to build this DevOps culture is by having a collaboration. So the teams has to work collaboratively. There should be transparency. That is very important to build a DevOps culture. So to have transparency on all the work that is being done. So let's say, for example, if a development teams want some information on what's happening at the infrastructure layer, they should be able to see that. So, right? Because it's only then they will be able to take ownership of issues. They will become accountable because they know, okay, the problem is not at the infrastructure, it's at my code, right? So it's taking more time. So let me take ownership and fix that issue. So accountability comes into place when we have better transparency. And that leads to continuous improvement, right? So with all the data that is getting processed, it helps us with improving that application for better performance. So collaboration, so we need cross-functional communication because we are all working towards one common goal. So that communication should be there. So you need to share some real-time data with development, operations, and all other stakeholders. Everyone should have the necessary data that will help them understand where the problem is. And transparency, like building these kind of dashboards, giving access to the teams, right? So you'd be able to give data to the necessary stakeholders. They can understand what's happening at their layer, right? What they take care of. So a centralized monitoring dashboards creates this transparency. And with this transparency, people become accountable. So we can send out notifications, alerts to the right people, not bombarding everyone with the alerts, right? Send the notification to the right people where they can know what's happening. And these alerts that are getting sent should have more information on that specific incident. So it should have some root cause analysis so that the people who's going to own that incident will be able to immediately respond to it. They can fix issues with priority. So they can take ownership of an issue. And then continuous improvements. All these data, right, it will give us some insights where we can identify the trends and we can see the areas of improvement. So if I need to provision more servers or if I need to reduce the number of instances that I'm running for my application, right? So that will be taken from the continuous improvement that we do. So embracing data DevOps culture is very crucial for success in the modern software development. So a small use case where a leading fintech giant from India used Site 24/7 to build a DevOps culture. So these are some of the challenges they had, right? So they had a very complex ecosystem with containers, microservices, and they were running their infrastructure both in on-premise as well as cloud. And these ecosystem, right, it had multiple modules and there were different teams owning them. And they were all reactive to issues. When there is an issue happening, they were reactive. It's only after they know that there is an issue, they'd be able to go ahead and fix it. There was no proactive monitoring in place. And there were a lot of blind spots because the teams had their own set of tools. So they did not have any visibility across the resources. And there were alerts with no context, which increased in their mean time to resolve. So the solution, Site 24/7 consolidated all their monitoring. So it was a single source of truth. So they had their infrastructure monitoring, application monitoring, log management, web monitoring, everything put into one single product, which helped them with proactive monitoring, which ensured continuous delivery and integration. They had some insightful reports which can be shared to the managements, right? And then there was transparency with the dashboards and the reports that we provided. We created transparency within the team, so the blame game was stopped. So actually when I went to meet the customer, right, the network guy thanked me because every time there is an issue, everyone points their hands towards the network guy. So that guy specifically thanked me, like, you saved a lot of time for me. With your tool, people are no more blaming me for issues, right? So Site 24/7, it's a DevOps tool. We have our booth here. So if you want more information on the tool, you can just stop by and get more information. We have been in the business for 15 years now. We are a product from Zoho Corporation and serving more than 13,000 customers across the globe. And we have our data centers spread across the globe. We have our data center in India, Mumbai and Chennai. We also have our data center in US, Europe, China, Australia, Japan. And we comply with all the security policies. And thank you so much. That's it from me. Any questions? If you have